Billy, I was in Vegas several years back, and I had a copy of The Stranger with me. Now, I had already heard, of course, all of the hits because I'm in radio, but I had never sat down and listened to the entire album track by track as it was intended. And I so thoroughly was impressed with the thematic layup of the album. My question is, how important is it, or was it to you, the lineup of the track 1, track 2 versus track 3 versus track 4?
Oh, that's critical. That's a crucial aspect of the art of album making, which I really don't even know if that exists anymore. Albums are not the medium that they used to be. They're not the art form that they were when I was starting out. The Beatles really kind of created the model. And now an album wasn't just a collection of songs that they threw together to sell to kids who liked one single. The album was the art form. And as you went from side A and flipped it over onto side B, you were reading the album cover, you were reading the liner notes, you were looking at the pictures, you were listening to the track, one track go to the next track. It was very, very important. It was almost like symphonic in scope. It was operatic. And it's very important to me. Actually, I wonder if the listening to albums is still understood. I wonder if it's even appreciated anymore.
I think you're right. I think it is a forgotten art form with iTunes, and you can download one song, and you know, it's tough these days.
Billy, you also now we all kind of knew that there were business woes for you through your career, and I never really knew the real story. In this movie, you lay it out very, very plainly. There were villains and there were heroes. What is the gentleman's name that went to the guy who, you know, had your rights and all that, and just basically almost punched him in the face, saying, "You give him back his right"? Who was that guy?
Yeah, that was Walter Yetnikoff, who was the president of Columbia Records at that time. Walter was around when Columbia was purchased. He negotiated the purchase of Columbia to Sony. Columbia Records used to be part of the CBS empire. Which was kind of a tight-assed organization, you know.
Right.
They were television. The rock and roll record label was kind of the bastard stepchild of this corporate entity, and Walter negotiated the purchase of it to Sony, which gave them a whole bunch of freedom, and now the animals were running the zoo. And Walter was, you know, he's in a lot of different books about that particular era. I think it's Hitmakers and Howling at the Moon. He was always portrayed as kind of a wild man. And, you know, he had his wild times, but he was also what we call a mensch. He was a real stand-up guy. And he got my copyrights back, my publishing rights back, from a guy who had swindled me out of them.
Yeah, the way you talk about him was obviously with very, very much affection. He was one of the heroes in your life.
Yeah, he got a bad rap for a while. I mean, because, you know, things got so crazy in the music business, and he was kind of lumped in with some other people, but he was not a villain. He was a good guy. And this business is not known for a lot of good guys.
Billy, you, by no choice of your own, you are a very gifted musician, a very gifted writer, and you do this by no choice of your own. As you now at this age, you know, because to do what you do, you have to leave family and friends and go on the road and live in strange hotels and address a different city each night. At your age now, and you look back on this, was the price too high?
I think about that at this point. I have pondered that over the years. There is an aspect of death of a salesman to it. Sometimes you're in a hotel, and no matter how, glamorous it all looks, you end up in a hotel room alone in some strange town, and you're Willie Loman. We're all it comes down. We're all in sales, you know.
It's true. It's very true.
And it does take its toll on family relationships, on personal relationships. Once I had a kid, I didn't want to go on tour anymore because my own father was never around, and I had sworn that I was going to be around. Boom, there I was repeating the same thing.
But you had to because you were cheated.
I did have to go back out on the road. Not that I don't like playing. I just didn't like touring that much anymore. And in talking to a lot of my contemporaries, I was talking to Bruce Springsteen the other day about it. I was talking to John Bon Jovi. None of us are crazy about being away from home all that much anymore, or being on the road, schlepping all over the world. We've done it. We've seen it. We've experienced it. Hey, a lot of it was fun. But now we're at a point in our lives where we just kind of want to be homies.
Well, you mentioned your daughter. I was floored by her beauty and her presence in this thing. She is. I hope she's as wonderful as she comes off in this film.
She's a great kid. She really is. I know I sound like a typical father, but she's got a terrific heart, this girl. And
a real healthy kind of a viewpoint of what happened and how it happened, and her love for you.
Yeah, well, she lived it. I mean, she lived the life. When she was very, very young, she got to travel all over the world. She went to the Soviet Union. She went to China. She went to Japan, to Europe. And, this girl has been around.
Billy, you talked about, and we'll let you go. We know you have other interviews to do, but you talked about the schlepping around the world thing. Does what's currently happening in Vegas with the permanent residency thing, does that appeal to you at all?
I tell you what, being in one place does appeal to me. Doing it in Vegas doesn't. It's not my kind of town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like playing in Vegas because they're always fun gigs. The audiences are fantastic. But I don't want to stay there for a long period of time. It's just, I'm not a desert guy. I guess I'm an ocean guy.
Yeah.
I get landlocked if I'm away from the sea for too long.
Nice.
But I'd like to be able to do that in New York. As a matter of fact, everybody's talking about trying to figure out ways of doing this. And that might happen for me.
I don't know if it's because I'm a fan that I say you care about your fans, but I've seen you numerous times in Vegas, in LA, all over the place. If you're there and I'm there, I'm right there. You are so good with the audience. Even the show with, and I've seen you with Elton a couple of times. You seem to have so much fun on stage.
Well, part of me, I don't know if this is understandable. Part of me is in the audience when I'm always thinking, what would I want to see? What would I like? Mm-hmm. What would appeal to me? What should this guy do? I'm a fan of music, and I'm about me being in the audience. And I suppose that's what happens when people see me talking to the crowd. I'm kind of talking to myself.
Wow.
If something occurs to me, why don't you say it?
Right.
It's not always the smartest thing to do, but I like to be spontaneous, and I like to improvise, and I like it to be real.
It is real, and that's why it is entertaining. It's organic and spontaneous. Quickly, Kelly, who does our news, sent you a letter when she was 13. You sent the letter. You replied to the letter. Please say hi to Kelly.
Billy.
Hi, Kelly.
I joined the Root Beer Rag fan club at,
oh, no.
At 13, I think 12. I'm going to cry right now. I just love you. I love you so much. I had IHOP placemats with your face on them. I stole 100 of them so I could wallpaper my bedroom with your face at the age of 13.
You subscribed to the Root Beer Rag?
Yes.
All that money disappeared?
No.
I think you had to pay a subscription.
I did. Yes, I did. And I got a little card and everything.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a nice thing for fans. And the people who were managing me at the time took all the money. They just ran off with the money.
Well, they at least sent me a little letter back, and supposedly with your signature on it. So
yeah, no, I was able to do a lot of it myself in those days. The volume of it hadn't gotten nuts, but it's hard to do now. But I appreciate it, Kelly.
Yeah, no, I just love you. You're the first concert I've ever seen, and this is just a joy. So thank you for everything.
Thank you.
And Billy, one of the things that is so obvious in with your business woes and the people that run off the money a couple of times or more times, is that you trusted them. You basically give the benefit of the doubt to people, especially people you've been with a very, very long time, and you've trusted them and you've defended them, and some of them have absolutely betrayed you.
Well, that's life. It happens to everybody. I'm not alone in that. I've had I got to balance it out by looking at how much good fortune I've had.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's good success tax. I probably made way more money than I was entitled to begin with. I don't mean business wise. I mean morally.
Right.
I've had tremendous good fortune, and I'm aware of that. And I do tend to trust people sometimes to the point of self-destructive. But I would rather be that way than be suspicious of everybody I know.
Billy, it was an amazing work, this movie, this film. I hope it turned out the way you wanted to. I've never seen anything like it.
Well, you know what? I didn't know what to expect, and when I saw it, I didn't throw up. So that means, I guess it's okay. Because it could have been a real cringe fest. I don't like watching me on camera.
Well, yeah, it is a work of art. It truly is. Whoever edited it, whoever directed it, these people, you should give them a raise.
They did a great job. Yes, they did.
Billy, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
All right, take care.
There you go.
He's
Billy
so much
Joel.
funnier than I ever imagined.
Yeah. All right. We'll get business done. We'll come back. It's the Mark and Brian radio program.